going to have a very, very strict ban, and we're going to have extreme vetting.
One of the things that I've learned is how dishonest the media is, really. I've done things that are, I think, very good.
You don't get nicer, you don't get friendlier.
And when people come in, they have to come in.
So you're going to split up families?
Chuck,
you're going to deport children?
Chuck, no, we're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them together out?
But they have to go.
What if they have no place to go?
The expression, I don't know if too many of you have heard it, it's time to make America great again.
We have an American hero, and that's the Attorney General of Washington. He stood up to bigotry and racism and contested it.
He convinced the feds not to challenge legalized pot. He pushed for a faster cleanup at Hanford, and he sued a Richland business for denying flowers to a gay wedding.
The man up on your screen is the only Attorney General here who actually got a nationwide blockage.
This case brought by Washington State and Minnesota, this absolutely cut the Trump administration off at their knees.
There is no part of my job description that says I should wait to uphold the constitutional rights of the people of my state. The law is a powerful thing. It has the ability to hold everybody accountable to it, and that includes the President of the United States. So when the President, in the waning hours of a Friday night, issued that unconstitutional executive order, my team and I, we worked around the clock that weekend to craft our legal challenge. It is not the loudest voice that prevails in a courtroom. It's the Constitution.
The Washington Attorney General is taking on President Trump again. Just a day after Trump canceled the DACA program, Bob Ferguson today filed a lawsuit to defend it.
Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson defeated the Trump travel ban in court, and he's ready to fight for DACA.
As cruel and as inhumane as the action is, there's one other problem with it. I think it's illegal. As you know, there are about 800,000 Dreamers in our country. There are more than 17,000 Dreamers in the state of Washington alone.
I came here when I was 7 years old in 2002 from Caracas, Venezuela. All throughout my college career, I was a DACA beneficiary. It became a lifeline for my success, but now that it's being taken away, there is definitely just an element of fear and shame to being undocumented under the era of Donald Trump. Bob Ferguson believes in me, and he believes in my story, and he believes in my community. He is uniformly representing all of Washingtonians. He collaborates with people and he listens to stories and incorporates them into his legal arguments. He sees the real human impact. I want to thank Bob Ferguson for filing the lawsuit and for taking the chance to fight for my community and fight for my story and fight for all of Washingtonians.
If the overwhelming majority of Dreamers were Caucasian, does anybody really think this president would have taken the action he took yesterday? You know, I try to think, what are the right words, right, for how outrageous this is. It's outrageous. I'm not going to put up with it. The governor sure as hell is not going to put up with it. These folks aren't going to put up with it. It's not right.
Working in Hanford is all about cleaning up the environment that was destroyed from developing nuclear weapons. Unfortunately, we're doing it at the cost of the workers. My first set of symptoms that I had came after I breathed in this unknown chemical mixture, and my lungs just started tightening right away. I mean, I'm 35. My life has been ruined. People should not end up like this because of their job. Bob Ferguson has put a lawsuit in place to change what's happening and to actually protect the workers. He said he wouldn't let this happen to people in his family, so how could he let it happen to others? The representatives of our state are not doing anything to protect the workers except for Mr. Ferguson.
My son, who was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 12, was introduced to opiates. He spent 9 months in the hospital hooked up to an opiate drip to deal with the pain of his chemotherapy. He left the hospital after 9 months, cured of cancer, but with the disease of addiction. When opiates were not available to him, he used heroin. He is now 31, and for 18 very long years, he has been fighting the demons of opiate and heroin addiction.
You know, Rosa's story is just one of many, many thousands, as you know, here in our communities in the city of Seattle and in our state more broadly. So today, the state of Washington filed a lawsuit against Purdue Pharma, one of the largest opioid manufacturers in our country. Blinded by pursuit of profits, billions and billions of dollars, they ignored what was going on in our communities all across this country. There's a crisis in our communities right now on this issue. I don't know how executives at Purdue Pharma sleep at night. My view is it can't wait another day. We have filed 14 lawsuits against this administration. I'm not keeping score, but so far we're 4-0, okay? Every federal judge who's examined any of our claims has agreed with the state of Washington. We've beaten the Trump administration over and over again. Whenever I think about our lawsuits, we talk about the same questions. Are Washingtonians being harmed? Do we have good legal arguments? And do I have standing to bring the lawsuit on behalf of the people of the state? When it comes to our Washingtonians being harmed, it doesn't get much bigger than this.
On behalf of my husband and myself, thank you, Attorney General Bob Ferguson and City Attorney Pete Holmes, for doing the right thing, requiring Purdue to be responsible for destroying people's lives.
Mr. Ferguson is putting workers ahead of politics and is willing to do the right thing to protect us, and I think that really is what matters.
We need his leadership, and we need him to continue protecting those vulnerable communities that the federal government is attacking right now.